Welcome to Small Town Pulse with Steve and Melissa, where the stories are good, the coffee's strong, and the charm is home brewed.
We bring you the heart of small town living,
One story,
one sip,
and one beat at a time. So today on Small Town Pulse with Steve and Melissa, we have Scot Heath, who will help us shine a light on a program that's making a real difference for veterans right here in Spencer County. The Veterans Club Equine program. This club combines the healing power of horses with a supportive community, giving veterans a space to connect, heal, and grow. Scott's passion for the community and his dedication to veteran makes him the perfect person to help us understand the heart of this work and why it matters so much. So, Scott, thank you for being here with us.
Welcome.
Let's start and tell us a little bit about yourself and how the Veterans Club came about and how it became part of your life.
So, we'll start 20 plus years ago. We got our first horse. My wife was, we were both making decent money and had our second house, and she had horses as a kid. I had ponies as a kid, but not a good experience. So she was going to buy this horse, and it so happened to be that he was at a farm near Fort Knox on the road that I was going in and out of the base doing a big project. So we played a prank on her and bought the horse, and that's how we got into horses. So it was shortly after that we bought a second horse, and then I started riding and started trying to learn horse. And that led me to a gentleman by the name of Pat Pirelli, and Pat Pirelli is my mentor, and he has people out in the field, his students that are upper level, and I go and train with those guys and their wives yearly. And the modality of horsemanship that we had over the years just lent itself to 6 years ago when I met Jeremy. And I saw that he was doing veteran therapy at another farm over in Shelbyville. And I reached out and I said, how about coming out here and meeting my horses? I think it'll be a good place for you to come. You can do more for the community. You can serve more people, maybe a little bit different part of town. So about a month later, he showed up, and I had the horses out and let him walk out around the horses, and he got to meet the horses. And Jeremy's not a horse guy per se. I mean, he knows horses. He's been out to Colorado to a veteran therapy program for 2 weeks, and it was equine based. They rode a lot, did a lot of stuff on the ground with horses, ate together and a lot of camaraderie. So, and his wife, Erin, used to ride thoroughbreds, not as a jockey, but as a warm-up rider at the track. So there's some horse background there, okay? He picked out his 4 that he would like to use, and I had my 4, and they matched, obviously, because they were our 4 prime horses or primary horses that we had. And we planned our first event. We had our first event, had about 12 to 15 people show up, packed in this, in the barn here, had the horses up. We had our day planned, the schedule we were going to do. And by the end of the day, everybody was smiling. We had a great day. We sat down, had a little after-action review like we do every time we do it to see what we did good, what we did bad, what we can improve, talk about the day, the flow. And I felt good about it. Jeremy felt good about it. He said, well, let's try it again. So we scheduled another couple weeks out, another big successful event, 12 or maybe more people, 15 people came out. And I'll describe what the day looks like, but that's how we got started. We got started by just having a couple events. And then by the second event, I'm like, I can't play with these horses every day. I can pick one after work and try to play with him, maybe mess with Thunder, Stetson, pick and choose, maybe Denny back here, play with them a little bit. But I can't do it every day, every week. So this gives the horses some more purpose. It gives us an opportunity to share, especially in our community, what we're blessed to have. And the hardest thing I told Jeremy I have to do is weed eat the fence. When he calls the news media, they get out there with the green grass and the black fence, and they want to film all this pretty green grass and fence. But if the grass was doing this where I didn't weed eat around the post, my ADHD was going to go off at night watching the 11 o'clock news. So that's the hardest thing I had to do. The horses are ready. They're not circus animals. They're performance horses. They're not rescues. They're our personal riding horses. So we're messing with them and expecting some partnership out of them. And all I have to do is just maybe teach somebody how to hold a rope a little bit, and then the horse will fill in.
Well, when I did come out the first time to meet with you, I'm a city boy, so me and these big animals are kind of a little away from each other.
Steve has chickens.
Well,
Yeah,
these are chickens with 4 legs. These are just 1,000
Just
pound.
really big
Yeah, these are
chickens,
big
Steve.
chickens with 4
Well,
legs.
and chickens are not my thing either.
Right.
That's all my wife. But when I went up to, I think it was Thunder that came up to me.
I think we had Thunder out, yeah.
And came right up to me, and it was very calm, very relaxing. I did not have a fear of something bigger than me that day.
It just put you at ease
It
right
put me
away.
at ease.
Yeah.
So, and you were explaining about some of the things you do. How do you train the horses, and how do you work with them to get them ready?
Well, and that goes back to what I've learned about horsemanship. You know, horsemanship is just a combination of positive habits and patterns for you and the horse. I don't know anything different. Those are my principles. The horses don't know anything different. So I can basically put, like I did with you that day, out with a horse that you were uncomfortable with and you immediately felt comfortable. So we get a range of people, happy, sad, mad, angry, you know, complete depressed, contemplating suicide even. We've had people show up contemplating suicide that morning, and they made the decision to come out and take a chance, and it made the difference, okay? So that has happened more than once, I'll say. But I have to rely on these horses so much, and it's a little drain on them, you know, emotionally and mentally. But the way we play with them, it doesn't hurt them. I was involved, you know, with Pat Pirelli and the Pirelli organization. They had a foundation, a nonprofit foundation that did fundraising for other nonprofits and horse rescue and things like that, therapy programs. So I got the opportunity to go several years ago to a symposium in Lexington at the horse park. A lady named Shannon Knapp that has a big horse equine therapy program in North Carolina came up. And she's probably one of the leading authorities in the country about equine therapy, and especially a good horseman too. What they were finding is a lot of horses were burning out because of all the mental and emotional trauma that they were taking on from the patients, the kids, handicapped kids, or the veterans, or whoever was coming to that. So I got to learn about that, and I'm like, and my wife's first concern was like, this is going to mess up our horses. And I'm like, no, it's not going to. We're going to play with our horses. They're going to get something out of this, and the people are going to get something out of this. And everybody's going to leave happy and fulfilled, you know. And the horses, how I know is the horses lick and chew a lot. They come down off adrenaline really quickly. They're rubbing their legs with their mouth. They're licking and chewing. They're blinking, you know. So we never see any of that. We don't have any, you know, trauma left over after the people leave. I'm exhausted just from the mental, you know, aspect of it. We're not physical during the day hardly,
Right.
but just the being in the moment. So.
And hearing other people's therapy session, basically.
A
Right?
little bit. I
Yeah.
mean, Veterans Club's motto is doing life together, so we don't call it therapy anymore.
Okay.
You know, we started out doing equine-assisted therapy, I guess, or we just called it an equine program, I guess, initially, and then after a few iterations, we changed it to equine-assisted mentoring, because we were just mentoring to the men and women that were our veterans, or are our veterans, or active duty, wherever they're at. We had the VA in Lexington called Jeremy a couple years ago and said, hey, what are y'all doing up there with your equine program? We've got a patient that came down here, and his counselor, you know, they go monthly for a monthly meeting for an hour. That check the box. They said something changed in him. We want to come up and see what you're doing. So they came up. The whole VA brought all the department heads up here to see what we were doing, and we just did the program with them. We talked about the day. We put them in a stall. We let them brush horses, have conversations with each other. Nothing heavy. With that group, we did a little bit of team building exercise. So we sat in here in the barn in a circle, and we did a little exercise where they got to communicate with each other, you know, as co-workers, get to learn a little bit about each other. We broke bread together. We had a nice meal together, and then we took the horses out that they started building that rapport with in the stalls out to play with, to try to see if there could be a partnership there. If they could learn how to lead a 1,000-pound animal that could think and feel on its own. You know, could they have that ability to have that 51% leadership, not the 100% leadership, not the dictator, but to have that 51% leadership ability that could carry over to their jobs and to their, you know, work. And that's what we do with the veterans. That's what made the change in that guy. We didn't tell him how to think or feel. We didn't tell him what he was doing right or doing wrong. We put him with an animal that let him make some decisions and find a good feeling by the way it felt on the end of a rope. And it was simple as that.
That's great.
In my mind, I want it to be more complicated, but I love that it's that simple.
Yeah.
It is very simple. Like I said, the hardest thing I do is weed eat the grass and,
Right.
and take the leaf blower and blow out the
We have to
dust.
feed the horses, too.
You know, well, but we're feeding the horses
You're doing that
anyway.
anyways,
We're
yeah.
filling the water buckets, the water troughs, we're cleaning the manure, we're grading the arena, we're fixing the fences, regardless if we do the program out here with the veterans. And that's why it's so easy to do, because I have to do those things anyway. We don't charge for this. We don't make money from the veterans, the government. We don't make, Veterans Club is a nonprofit. Sometimes Veterans Club out of the general fund will buy the meals, but most of the time the meals are donated by other organizations. And we have very little to no expense to do this. You know,
That's amazing.
it's, the porta can out here is donated, for the year by one of my general contractors, Miranda Construction. Ryan Miranda, I called him and he said, "Oh, that was an easy ask, Scott," you know, and that just saved us, you know, $150 bill every month from our general fund.
Right.
So, you know, we can do this, you know, a day lasts 3.5, you know, hours or so, maybe a little bit longer for me because I'm preparing the property Friday night, a little bit in the morning, but I got to keep the place straightened up anyway, so.
How often are you having the veterans out?
We were doing it twice a month. This year, we switched gears to once a month. Last year, we were doing it just once a month in the latter part of the year. And what we found is we were doing it 2 times a month. People wouldn't show up. They go, they're going to have it again in 2 weeks. I'll just go then. But then something would come up in their life, and then they wouldn't come. So then we were losing people. So now we decided, let's make it a little bit more special, which it is, obviously, and give them one date. And we're back to having big groups. Weather is tough sometimes, especially when it's hot. It's not fun. You know, the fall season is going to be a whole lot better because it's cooler. We'll have more family and kid events. We'll have a trick-or-treating for kids out here. That'll be a veteran family event. The kids come out, they play with horses, and they go put costumes on, and then we let them play with the horses as they trick-or-treat around to different stations or obstacles out there, and then they get treats, and the horses get treats.
Love
And
it.
yeah, and then of course the kids have to ride because they have to have the cherry on top for the end of the day. They cannot sit on
That is why
not
they're
sit on a
here,
horse.
let's
That's
be
why they're here.
honest.
It's a ride. So it's basically a big pizza party with kids with horses. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the fall's better. You know, it's more conducive to learning. You know, when it's 90 degrees, it's hard for me to get out here and do anything. I have to wait till the evening when it cools off a little bit to try to do something. You know, the horses came in the barn here to get out of the sun for a little bit this afternoon, so I'm gonna let them get some shade and not bother them and make them go out and sweat in the sun.
Let them relax
They
a
also
little.
knew they had their podcast chance to come out and
Right, they didn't
become
want to miss their
famous.
shot to be on camera.
That's right. Thunder over here is going to be mad because he's not going to be on video.
We'll get him.
But yeah, we'll get him.
We'll make sure.
Now, why veterans? What's your tie?
Well,
or
so-
why does that speak to your heart?
So my dad was a veteran. My dad's family, his brothers were all Navy veterans. A lot of my fraternity brothers from college are active duty. Some of the younger guys. I have friends that are anywhere from retired General Mark Krause, who was the general of the Air Guard in Louisville, to Colonel Tillman. I just have a lot of friends that were military. I'm law enforcement here in Spencer County. It's a part-time job. I'm the ABC officer for Spencer County and City of Taylorsville. I've been doing that since 2010 when Judge Carr hired me because he wanted somebody professional to do the job. And then we changed in, 2013 or thereafter, where the city could have their own person. They had a short couple years of having somebody do the administrative and enforcement part for them. And all the licensees were calling me anyway, because I could give them answers or lead them to, some solution. So the city finally made an agreement with the county that I could, take care of their business, and then the county pays me for everything. I can't work because of the constitution of the state. I can't work for a city and a county
Right.
government. Yeah, so I work for the county government for fiscal court, and we've got 26, 27 licensees in the county, and everybody does a good job. We're one of the few counties that has no enforcement activities by the state. When they come in and try to do something, everybody cards, and we don't have.
Everybody just does what they're supposed
They
to
do, and it makes my job easy.
Right.
I'm talking to somebody weekly, so it's not that part-time, but I'm handling some question weekly. I'm in most of the businesses, so everybody knows me, and it's it's fun and easy too.
Yeah. And it leaves you time to do
Yeah.
this.
So you ask why veterans? Because we need to give back to our community. I would share my property with just families to come out here and learn about horses, and we have. We've brought people out here that want to learn a little bit about horses, and I can teach them our modality of horsemanship, from Pat, what I've learned about being a good horseman, and maybe they would learn something different. I guarantee they're going to see something different, me doing or playing with a horse, than they would going to a horse show or seeing everybody else. I mean, Pat says, watch what everybody else does and do the opposite. And it's true,
Right.
So why veterans? Basically, I saw Jeremy doing it, and I thought, let's give
There's
them
a
an
need that
opportunity.
needs to
There's
be
a need,
filled.
yeah.
Do you know how many veterans we have that reside here in Spencer County?
So I looked that up. We might have as much as 5% of the population is veterans, are veterans.
That's a decent amount.
Yeah, I think the statistic is 2.5 to 5.5% of the county population. So Spencer County is kind of on the low side. Obviously, Jefferson County is a huge veteran population. That's you're getting bright red there and some big percentages. Shelby, I think, maybe Oldham, or kind of mid-range or whatever. I thought somewhere I heard a statistic that Spencer had one of the largest veteran populations in the county, but when I looked it up, that wasn't what I found on the statistics on the map from the Veterans Administration. So, but still, 5% of what's our population? 20
20-some
Yeah,
thousand.
right at 20-some thousand. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
a decent amount. And do we really have a lot of veteran charities Do we have
There's veteran organizations. Yeah,
operating?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some.
Yeah, there's some veteran organizations, and there's they kind of do their own thing, and that's kind of unfortunate. And that's kind of the way the veteran nonprofit world is. Everybody kind of has their niche, and that was kind of why Veterans Club, from what I understand, why Veterans Club was originally founded, is because those guys from our most recent activities in Iraq and Afghanistan, they came back over here and they went down to the VFW. Well, those guys are World War II, Vietnam, other conflicts, and they're older guys. They've got their bar stool. They're not going to give it up. And they're looking at these guys and they're going, we had it harder than you.
Right.
You had it easy. So they didn't feel welcome. So they were brainstorming one day, what can we do to get people together, because they were so used to that camaraderie in service, they didn't have a place to go, so they formed Veterans Club. And Veterans Club is not just equine. It's coffee and camaraderie. It's pistols and pizza or bullets and barbecue at next level gun range, and that's once a quarter. They do kayaking trips. We have a women's warrior program where it's just women only. And the Kentucky Humane Society, their equine barn over in Simpsonville, they host our women warrior program, and they do the same equine program over there, but it's just women only. Women volunteers, women veterans attending, female led. And then there's the women warrior program a couple times a year has a retreat, and Corey or whoever at the office will load them up in the big church bus and the van and haul all their stuff down to somewhere like Gatlinburg and drop them off, and then go back and pick them up, and they have a heck of a time. So, but we don't have service dogs. We don't, Veterans Club doesn't do some other programs, but they know who to send somebody to. Horses might not be your thing. Shooting guns might be your thing. Go to the gun range. So there's different people that go to that. Then I see there's a couple of people that go to both. But the last one we had last month, I met a lot of new people, and I went because I'm a board member now. So I went to support, and I enjoy shooting my firearms. It's a nice place to go, and
owned by people here in Spencer
and
County.
owned by people here in Spencer County. Yeah. So when they opened, I went, and then I met the Naves and talked to them. I said, hey, we want to talk to you about doing this. And they're like, when do we start? Yeah. So
They're good people.
yeah, we've got a great facility, perfect for what we're doing.
Are there any opportunities for local people to help volunteer or anything that program may need?
So
that
many
may
of us
help?
are touched by veterans. Most of us have a veteran in our family,
Right.
or some kind of close proximity to us. So I think it's always something that speaks to our community's heart.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to have fences. I'm going to mow my grass. I'm going to bale hay. I'm going to feed my horses, regardless if we're doing the program or not. We need volunteers are, sometimes we need hosts for the day to maybe serve the meal, to maybe even prepare a meal. You can look at veteransclubinc.org, our website. Veterans Club has 2 Facebook pages. There's a public page, Veterans Club, and then there's a private page which is just for veterans only to communicate. You can look at and sign up for the email list and find out when the events are out here, and then you can contact me or Corey at the office, and that's where we need volunteers. We have some equine volunteers that come out and if somebody has equine experience and they want to come out and volunteer just as a safety, we call them safeties. So just somebody outside when we're moving horses around, just to remind people to keep space between horses, or if somebody's struggling a little bit and I can't get to them, maybe they can help fix them up a little bit. If somebody has some horse experience, absolutely come out and volunteer and help us. But as far as volunteers like other programs have, painting fence and fixing fence and that kind of stuff, we don't do a lot of that because I've mostly got that taken care of. And once in a while, Corey will call me and they'll have a guard unit that wants to send 15 men and women out here to work for the day. So we'll just trim trees or do something that helps me, where I don't have to take, a whole weekend to do that kind of stuff. So there's opportunities for that, but mostly the opportunities would just be to be here with us, to do this program together, to do life together, and to support our program here in Spencer County. Not many people know about it.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Before we talked, I had never wasn't aware that it was going on.
And Jeremy was a big mentor in the program. We're still following through with the way we did the day, what the day looks like, or whatever. It's a lot of the things that I do when I'm learning or trying to teach these horses things or introduce them to things is exactly what we can do with people. We want to immerse, horses are immersed in a herd. I mean, some of the horses are in the barn here just for our convenience right now. They're in, getting some shade, but they're in community. They're immersed in the pastures. They're immersed in the environment. This is a different environment than out in the pasture. And that's exactly what the therapies programs from the VA tells those men and women to do, is go out and immerse yourself in activities. Go out and immerse yourself in the public. So everything we're doing with a horse, it's a horse program from my perspective, but I just made it a people program. So I'm just teaching each other to have, we're learning what responsibilities are for a human and a horse. Well, it could be the same responsibilities for you and in your daily life. In your faith. Absolutely.
Because that's one of the things veterans really struggle with is what life looks like outside of the service, right?
Right. I mean, they were all leaders at one time, and in some aspect, even the lowest ranking guys had some leadership role. And when they leave, they're like, what do? I don't have anybody to lead. They come out here now. We can put them with a 1,000-pound animal, and they can learn to lead that animal, so they can feel what that feels like to lead again, to have that intestinal fortitude, to have that pep in their step, to have that march, to have to put that head on like the drill sergeant and have come to attention. Okay, those are little things that I can talk to them about with a horse. If I see the horse looking at the ground like this, then I guarantee I know the veteran's looking at the ground, and he's doesn't have any energy. So without telling him anything, I can just say, hey, try this. And then they go off, and then all of a sudden I see the horse having a nice gait and rhythmic. They look rhythmic together, and I go, okay, he's feeling that. Then they come back with a smile on their face. And I didn't tell him anything. I just said, try this. Yeah, so that's how it works. But I'd love for people to get involved. I'd love for our community to know about it more. Corey would love to have more volunteers at the office. We have an office down in St. Matthews, a clubhouse, nice facility, kitchen, meeting rooms, conference room, storage. They do jiu-jitsu down there. They do yoga. They host other events. The VA, I don't think they do it currently, but they would host some kind of hometown meetings and things down there. So it's open to anything, almost anything, free of charge. But we need volunteers, not even just for the horse program, but for Veterans Club could use some volunteers for other programming. So if horses aren't your thing,
there's probably a program that is your thing.
There's a big group of older guys that fundraise for Veterans Club, and they fundraise just for a fund earmarked for if somebody gets in trouble and needs some money for a new washing machine or pay their electric bill. And they raise tens of thousands of dollars every year with a gun raffle. And Kentucky Fair and Expo Center gives them free booth space at all the big events, North American, the livestock show, the farm machinery show. They give us free booth space and let them sell tickets, and then we get the guns donated. And they raise that money for that. So if you want to join with those guys and help those, because there's 5 or 6 guys and it's wearing them out, but they're doing it. They love to do it. There's opportunities for social media to help us with social media. That's one thing that Jeremy did a lot of. I don't have time to do that. Jeremy did that. Corey has a lot. He's the, chief operating officer for Veterans Club. He has his own responsibilities. Can't do everything. So there's opportunities for that kind of stuff too, not just horses.
There is a very popular TikToker that I follow on TikTok who breeds quarter horses. And she always talks about every horse needs a job. It's good for them. They want a job. And yours have a job.
Yeah, every horse, they want a job, and moreover, they want leadership. They look for leadership. If I'm not going to give them leadership, they're going to look to their buddies to see who's going to lead. And there's some hierarchy they're definitely within the herd. And then sometimes there's a little give and take because we want to be passive leaders. We don't want to be bullies. So we can teach our men and women, veterans that used to lead at some aspect and in some capacity, what that feels like again by providing that leadership for this horse and having a conversation with him, a nonverbal conversation, because that's all they have is body language. So we're teaching. I'm teaching a little bit more horsemanship than we used to in the program, but it like I said, it's not just horse, it's people. Can learn from that.
Yeah. What's your return rate of veterans coming month after month? Do you see them more than once typically?
So yes, we do. I was trying to play in my head here. There was a father and son that came this weekend, and they're back almost every weekend. Sometimes Amanda, the mother, comes, and if the dad is doing something at the house, and she's not a veteran, but we welcome. When we had COVID and we had kind of the lockdown and everything, we didn't quit because we're outside. And that was the worst time to quit and let everybody be shut in. Okay, so we made a respite program where people could come out one-on-one. Jeremy'd come out here, I'd come out here. They could go out in the field. We could talk over the fence. We didn't have to be face to face in such close proximity, and that worked great. That kept us going. And we found we had a lot of first responders that just needed to come out and decompress and just sit out there on a log and sit with a horse and not do anything. What we learned from that is let's open it up to the families too, not just the men, mostly men, but the men and women, veterans only, and don't just have a group of, Vietnam War guys in here, telling stories or whatever. Let their families come, because they come out here and they have a good feeling when they leave. What happens when they get home? Does it change? So let them and the spouse have that good feeling. Let them and their son or daughter have that good feeling. We had a mother come out here with her daughter, and we didn't know this at the time, but we just treated them like family, just part of our community. Let's have a day, and we went through the day, and we get an email back, and they said, that was the most that my daughter and I have spoken to each other in years, or in months or something, whatever the time was. She said, not only did we communicate a lot during the day, we've planned a kayaking trip together and a camping trip. So she was all excited,
Amazing.
Teenage daughter, they just didn't have anything in common. Her mother was a veteran and served a lot and was gone a lot. So there was that separation, and all we did was a little exercise with the horses where they had to talk to each other, because each of them had a rope, and one wanted to go left and one wanted to go right, or they wanted to go forward. So they had to talk, and that's all we did. So, they come back, we get, some people will come back in spurts. This past weekend, we had a gentleman that hadn't been here for 3 years. I don't know what the situation was, why he hadn't been involved, but he came back and he said, I'll see you next month,
Awesome.
So he'll be back.
if there's somebody who's listening who is a veteran or who knows a veteran who could maybe benefit from this type of mentorship, how do they sign up to be able to come?
Well, they can call me on my phone number or my cell phone, and it's 502-710-9274. They can look up veteransclubinc.org is our website. They can go to Facebook if they're on Facebook, which a lot of guys, men and women are. They can find Veterans Club on Facebook, and they can simply just send, Corey or the office a message, get on the website and look at the calendar of events and
just come.
And come. And if you call me, I'll answer the phone and I'll give you the people to talk to, or I'll just tell you when our next event is, and you're welcome to come out. Or a lot of times just come out and, see where we're at too. I'm here every evening, and it's easy to do. So that's how I would find us.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, it sounds like you're doing some amazing work in the community, so thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to talk about it and share it. Like I said, I'm lax in getting the judge executive and the magistrates. I need to go down there, and I did with John Riley. John Riley supported us, and John Riley was here several times. I've not probably personally invited Scott Travis or the current fiscal court. Shame on me. But I need to go down there and just stand up at one of the fiscal court meetings and say,
Absolutely.
hey, you know me, I'm this, and I also do these things in our community, and I would love for you all to come out at this event when we have a Memorial Day event or a Veterans Day event or whatever. Come out and shake hands and meet people and show some support and see what we're doing in Spencer County.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That's all for today's episode of Small Town Pulse. Thanks for sharing a little bit of your day with us.
We'll be back soon with more voices, more stories, and more of the heart that makes small towns shine.
Until then, keep listening
Keep smiling.
and always keep your finger on the pulse.